Let's go, Broncos! A lot is happening in the AFC West, and the Denver Broncos could come out ahead. I'll break it all down for you in just a moment. But first, if you've been a Denver Broncos fan since the 80s, don't forget to hit that like button. And hey, why not leave a comment saying, "The Denver Broncos are in my heart." Fans like you make this all so much fun. Now, let's dive in. Big things are shaking up with the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the future of the Broncos. The Raiders are having a tough time finding a head coach, the Chargers are struggling with their budget, and these changes could spell good news for Denver. Let's start with the Raiders. Their situation is chaotic, to say the least. Just a few days ago, everyone thought Ben Johnson, one of the brightest young NFL coordinators, was about to become the Raiders' new head coach. There were even rumors that he was flying to Vegas with Tom Brady to seal the deal. But out of nowhere, Johnson decided to take the head coach job with the Chicago Bears instead. Now, the Raiders are in trouble. They don't have a head coach, and they've already fired their general manager, Tom Telesco, to make room for Johnson. What a mess. This has left Raiders fans frustrated. Many of them blame the team for letting Telesco go since he was the one who brought in big names like Justin Herbert and Brock Bowers. So, who's next for the Raiders? Right now, there are two main candidates, Pete Carroll and Vance Joseph. Carroll is a Super Bowl-winning coach who brings lots of experience, but his age has raised questions about how long he can lead the team. Joseph, on the other hand, is younger and full of potential, though his past head coaching record hasn't been great. Here's where it gets interesting for Broncos fans. If the Raiders hire Vance Joseph, the Broncos will get 2 third-round draft picks as part of the NFL's Rooney Rule. How's that for a win-win? Sure, the Broncos might have to face Joseph twice a year, but those extra draft picks could really help rebuild the team in the long run. Over in Los Angeles, the Chargers are facing some serious money problems. Their budget issues could force them to make tough decisions, like cutting big-name players Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack because of their expensive contracts. On top of that, they might lose key offensive stars like Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams. Losing Bosa alone would cost the Chargers $12 million, leaving their finances in bad shape. For the Broncos, this is great news. After years of watching the Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs dominate with their loaded rosters, the AFC West might finally even out. Speaking of Kansas City, injuries and their own budget problems could give the Broncos a real chance to compete next season. But the biggest drama is still happening with the Raiders, and it's shaking up the entire division. After Ben Johnson turned down their coaching offer to join the Chicago Bears, the Raiders are stuck with no clear plan. Meanwhile, Johnson's move to Chicago is making waves as the Bears continue their aggressive rebuild, possibly bringing in more top talent to join him. The Broncos have their own coaching decisions to make. They're still looking for a special teams coordinator, and Darren Rizzi is a favorite for the job. But there's a twist. Rumors say Rizzi might head to Chicago to join Johnson. If that happens, Mike Westhoff thinks Chris Banjo could be the next best choice. Banjo has already done great work in Denver, but the team will need to act fast before another team snatches him up. Now, here's an interesting twist. Pete Carroll might end up coaching the Raiders. If that happens, he could reunite with Russell Wilson, one of his former star players. Imagine the drama if Wilson, wearing a Raiders jersey, had to face the Broncos twice a year. Bottom line? The Broncos are in a great spot to take advantage of all this chaos. With the Raiders struggling, the Chargers losing key players, and the Chiefs showing signs of weakness, the Broncos could make a big comeback in the AFC West. So, Broncos country, what do you think? Did the Raiders dodge a bullet by missing out on Ben Johnson? Or are they falling apart? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about all the changes happening in Los Angeles and Kansas City? Share your thoughts in the comments. This offseason is already shaping up to be one of the most exciting ones in recent memory. But wait, there's even more. Broncos country. Let's dive into the action. We've already talked about the Las Vegas Raiders' struggles to find a head coach, the Los Angeles Chargers' cap space troubles, and what these shakeups could mean for the Broncos. Let's see how these twists could work in Denver's favor. The Raiders' problems just keep piling up. A few days ago, everyone thought Ben Johnson, one of the NFL's hottest young coordinators, was heading to Vegas as their new head coach. There were even rumors he was flying in with Tom Brady to finalize the deal. But in a shocking twist, Johnson turned them down and decided to coach the Chicago Bears instead. This left the Raiders in chaos. They don't have a head coach, and they already let go of their general manager, Tom Telesco, thinking Johnson was a done deal. Raiders fans are frustrated, especially since Telesco was the guy who brought in stars like Justin Herbert and Brock Bowers. Now, the Raiders are divided over who should lead the team next. Two big names have come up: Pete Carroll and Vance Joseph. Carroll, a Super Bowl-winning coach, would bring a lot of experience, but some are worried about his age and how long he can lead. Joseph, on the other hand, is younger and full of potential, but his track record as a head coach has been criticized. Here's why this gets interesting for Broncos fans. If the Raiders hire Vance Joseph, the Broncos would get 2 third-round draft picks as part of the NFL's Rooney Rule. That's a big win for Denver. While it would mean facing Joseph twice a year, those extra draft picks could really help the Broncos build for the future. So, Broncos country, how do you feel about this? Will these changes give the Broncos the upper hand in the AFC West? Let us know in the comments. What a win-win situation for the Broncos. Sure, they might have to face Vance Joseph twice a year if he joins the Raiders, but those extra draft picks could be a game-changer for their rebuilding plans. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Chargers are in serious trouble with their budget. They may have to cut star defensive players Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack because of their expensive contracts. On top of that, key offensive players like Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams might leave as well. Just losing Bosa alone would cost the team $12 million, leaving the Chargers in a financial mess. For the Broncos, this is fantastic news. The AFC West could finally level out after years of watching the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs dominate. Speaking of Kansas City, they've been hit by injuries and are dealing with their own budget problems, which could give the Broncos a real shot at becoming competitive next season. But the real drama is still in Las Vegas. Ben Johnson turning down the Raiders has left them without a clear plan, and it's also shining a spotlight on the Chicago Bears' bold rebuild. Johnson is now leading the charge in Chicago, and he might bring in more talented coaches to join him. Back in Denver, the Broncos are dealing with their own coaching challenges. They still need a special teams coordinator, and Darren Rizzi is the top candidate. But rumors say Rizzi might head to Chicago to join Johnson. If that happens, Mike Westhoff thinks Chris Banjo would be a smart replacement. Banjo has done great work in Denver, but the Broncos need to act fast before another team snaps him up. And here's an exciting twist. Pete Carroll might join the Raiders. If he does, he could reunite with his former quarterback, Russell Wilson. Imagine seeing Wilson in a Raiders jersey, facing the Broncos twice a year. The drama would be off the charts. The bottom line? The Broncos are in a great position to take advantage of the chaos in their division. With the Raiders struggling to find a direction, the Chargers likely losing top players, and the Chiefs showing signs of weakness, this could be Denver's chance to rise again as a top contender in the AFC West. What do you think, Broncos country? Are you ready for Denver to take back its crown? Let me know in the comments. What do you think, Broncos country? Did the Raiders dodge a bullet by missing out on Ben Johnson, or are they heading straight into chaos? And how do you feel about all the potential changes happening with the Chargers and Chiefs? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting we've seen in a long time. But it's not just about the immediate drama in the AFC West. These changes could reshape the entire division for years to come. Let's break it down. First, the Raiders' coaching situation. If Pete Carroll takes the job in Las Vegas, it could give them some much-needed stability. Carroll's experience and winning record speak for themselves, and he could bring some discipline to a franchise that's been all over the place lately. But here's the catch. Carroll isn't getting any younger. By the end of a possible contract, he'd be close to 80. While he's still full of energy, hiring him might just be a quick fix, not a long-term solution. On the other hand, if the Raiders go with Vance Joseph, it's a whole different story. Joseph is younger and brings a fresh approach, but Broncos fans know his coaching history. During his time in Denver, he showed potential but couldn't deliver consistent results. Raiders fans might hope he's learned from his past mistakes, but it's definitely a risky bet for a team that's already struggling to find its way. Now let's talk about the Chargers. This is where things get exciting for the Broncos. The Chargers are facing big cap problems, and they might have to make tough decisions about their roster. If stars like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack leave, it could weaken their defense, a defense that's caused Denver plenty of headaches over the years. But it's not just their defense. Key offensive players like Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler might also be on their way out. If that happens, the Chargers could lose their competitive edge, giving the Broncos a real chance to shine in the AFC West. For years, the Broncos have been the underdogs, facing star-studded rosters in Los Angeles and Kansas City. But now, with the Chargers possibly rebuilding and the Raiders still searching for answers, the playing field is leveling out. If Denver continues to make smart moves in free agency and the draft, they could turn this division chaos into their golden opportunity. And let's not forget about head coach Sean Payton. He's already making a big difference for the Broncos. Payton's ability to bring discipline, create a winning culture, and get the best out of his players will be key to Denver's success. So, Broncos fans, are you ready for Denver to take advantage of all this AFC West chaos? Let me know what you think in the comments. The quarterback situation is still a hot topic for the Broncos, but coach Sean Payton is staying focused on the big picture. His plan to create a balanced, team-first strategy might be just what the Broncos need to become serious contenders again. Over in Kansas City, even the mighty Chiefs aren't completely safe from the challenges shaking up the AFC West. They're dealing with injuries, tight cap space, and the constant pressure of staying on top in a league where things can change quickly. The Chiefs are still the team to beat, but if they show even the smallest weakness, it could be Denver's chance to step up and challenge their dominance. For Broncos fans, this season feels different. After years of frustration, watching rivals like the Chiefs and Chargers dominate, there's finally a spark of hope. The team seems to be turning a corner, and it's hard not to feel optimistic about what's coming next. Now, it's your turn to join the conversation. Do you think the Raiders messed up by letting Ben Johnson get away? Can Pete Carroll or Vance Joseph turn things around in Las Vegas? And how do you think the Chargers' roster changes will affect Denver's chances next season? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is your team, your city, and your time to shine. Let's hear it, Broncos fans. Go Broncos! Raiders fans might see Vance Joseph as a coach who has learned from his past and is ready for a fresh start. But Broncos fans know the risks of trusting a coach who hasn't yet proven he can deliver consistently at the top level. Now, let's turn our attention to the Los Angeles Chargers. This could be where things get really exciting for the Broncos. The Chargers' roster might be about to change in a big way because of their salary cap issues. If defensive stars like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack leave, it could leave the Chargers' defense vulnerable. These players have been a major headache for Denver in the past, so their absence would be huge. And that's not all. Key offensive players like Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler might also be on their way out. Without them, the Chargers could lose a lot of their competitive edge. For the Broncos, this could level the playing field in the AFC West. For years, Denver has been up against superstar-packed rosters in Los Angeles and Kansas City. But now, with the Chargers possibly rebuilding and the Raiders dealing with leadership problems, the Broncos have a real chance to shine. This is especially true if Denver keeps making smart decisions in free agency and the draft. With head coach Sean Payton at the helm, the team is laying a solid foundation for future success. Payton's leadership, discipline, and knack for bringing out the best in his players could be the key to taking advantage of these opportunities. Meanwhile, even the Kansas City Chiefs aren't completely safe. Injuries, managing their salary cap, and staying dominant in such a competitive league will be tough for them in the coming years. The Chiefs are still the team to beat, but if they falter even a little, the Broncos could step in and challenge their dominance. And let's not forget the emotional side of all this. Broncos fans have had some tough years, watching their team struggle while the Chiefs and Chargers soared. But now, things are looking up. There's a new sense of hope, and it feels like the Broncos might finally be turning the corner. What do you think, Broncos fans? Did the Raiders mess up by letting Ben Johnson get away? Can Pete Carroll or Vance Joseph turn things around for the Raiders? And how will the Chargers' roster changes affect Denver's chances next season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is your team, your city, and your moment to shine. Let's hear it, Broncos fans. Go Broncos!